Hello and welcome to Pisces Moon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kate Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hi everyone, welcome to the week of November 23rd through November 29th. If you're in the US, happy Thanksgiving if that's something you celebrate, and if you don't, happy long weekend, right? So there's at least that. So it's a week. It's a week. I feel like I'm saying that all the time because every week kind of deserves it, right? We've got this Mercury retrograde going on. And I have to say, I work with clients every single day of the week. So if you want a reading, if you want to get into your natal chart so you understand how these transits are going to impact you, then please schedule now. My rates are going up after the first of the year, so this is a good time to get on the calendar, even if you don't want to use that session until after the first of the year. Book now and you get the old rates. All right. Why do that? Let me give you an example. I had a client, a lovely, lovely, longstanding client of mine contact me this week and say, wow, you've been saying how hard this the Mercury retrograde is. And for me, it's been fantastic. It's been invigorating. I'm motivated. And I looked at her chart, and that Mercury-Mars thing that left me with second-degree burns and all kinds of other awful kinds of things going on in my life, and other clients with breakups and quitting jobs without thinking about it first, and all of those kinds of crazy things. It was making a trine, the most harmonious aspect to her natal Mars. So yes, it was bringing really big, really active energy, but in a lovely way to her Mars. And I don't care what anybody says. I know other Hellenistic astrologers, that's what I am primarily. I know they will talk about, Mars is just always this, some of them talk about how Mars is one of the malefics and he's going to bring all this bad stuff. I don't buy into that. He's big energy. He's a warrior. He can cause war, right? But he can also wage noble war. And he's also energy and momentum and initiation, and this client's story is an example of that, where Mars to Mars harmonious aspect with Mercury in the mix just brought a lot of energy and rethinking in all the best ways. So, you really got to know your natal chart, and you've got to apply these aspects to your chart and your planets. How are they speaking to you? Because that's how you're going to feel the energy. All right. Enough of all of that said, and thank you for being here. Please share, like, rate, do all the stuff you can do to help the podcast grow. I would be so grateful. And enough of all of that. Let's get into this transit. Now, as you might remember, we've been going through a lot of grand trine energy. So I'm sure you're probably at this point where it's like, grand trine, yeah, that's kind of old news. I know it's big, good energy, but how do we get so many? We get so many because we've got Jupiter and Saturn anchoring two corners of that triangle, and they move slowly. So they stay there for a while in that trine relationship. On the other side of the chart, where the peak of the triangle is, we've had all the faster moving planets, just one after another, ticking through that top corner. So we've had Mars, we've had the sun, we've had the moon for sure, ticking through. So we keep getting that really positive, really invigorating trine energy, and we've got it again this week. But it's interesting. I say but because I think there will be some challenges, but I think grand trines are good aspects, and I think that ultimately this is going to prove to be good. And I know I know how bad that sounds when it's like, no, the good comes eventually. I know it doesn't sound good, but I promise it is. Because what we have at that top peak of the triangle is Mercury retrograde now in Scorpio. Yeah, that Mercury retrograde, right? It's just, sorry, we can't get out of it until when? The end of the week. He actually stations direct, and then he's just got that forward moving shadow to get through. So we are on the tail end of the worst of it, if it's been hitting you in any of the bad kind of ways. But he is conjunct. That is sitting in the lap of, holding hands with, giving a kiss on the cheek to who but the lovely Venus, goddess of love, all relationships, women, sisters, luxury, beauty, all kinds of art, creativity, all kinds of wonderful, wonderful things. Yeah, with the Mercury retrograde as part of the grand trine. It's a lot. It's complicated. Let's break it down. So first, let's just start with what we all care most about, right? We've got Venus in Scorpio. Scorpio is deep. It's the emotional waters. So think of going, whatever you've been doing. It's not, that's Venus or Mercury related this week. This is not flimsy energy. This is not the airy stuff of like Gemini, for example. This is the deep dive into our inner truth. That's what Scorpio brings. It also forces us to face what's hidden. So that's important in this situation, because when we've got Venus there, we're really getting in touch with our deepest inner feelings, our emotions, and our intuitive sense. Scorpio is very witchy. So that intuition that lives deep, deep inside of us. So how is this going to affect relationships? Just this part of it. We're going to have to do that deep dive. Now, remember, that's relationships with anybody, with a job, with projects, with art, relationships, and yes, love. So apply it to whatever house it's in for you, and apply it in general, because it'll hit that way as well. And this is that kind of, what do I really feel? We're going to have to get in touch with that. And sometimes it's not easy, because sometimes we've been stuffing stuff. We've been staying in relationships that honestly, it's more habit, convenience. You know what it is for a lot of us? It's that fear of what comes next. If I let go of this partner, job, home, whatever it is, art project, this novel I've been working on, right? Whatever it is, if I let go of it, what if there's nothing waiting on the other side? What if nothing's coming to replace it? What if this really is the best I can do? Stop it. Stop it right now. All of you. I can hear my mentor out there, my writing mentor out there, just saying, stop it right now. You do have more art in you, or whatever it is that we're talking about. So stop it right now. Of course, there's more out there. Life goes on. The planets keep spiraling and circling and, what's the word? Transiting through our charts. And we have more. We have more. If this is not, whatever this is, right? If it's not truly hitting you on that deep, deep Scorpio level, let it go. Let it go. Be free to go on and find the true Venus. Now, remember, I told you, this is conjunct Mercury. So Mercury is supporting rethinking, replanning, redoing. It's supporting us in doing that. So just imagine. Now, does it mean that all of us are going to be like, I've got to get a divorce this week and I'm pressing delete on that manuscript I've been working on? No, of course not. We may go deep and just decide that we need to tweak in some way, Mercury retrograde. And that deep dive we're doing will allow us to tweak in really meaningful ways, right? We may need to have Mercury important conversations with people. right? We may need to say, like, honey, I love you, but, or I love you, and, or whatever that brings up for each of us. So, while I do think there can be challenges, because sometimes, let's face it, Scorpio is fixed water. And those of you who listen to me a while will know that I often refer to Scorpio as the ice princess. She's so deep and she's not moving. And sometimes we have to chip through some ice to get to that truth underneath. And so, while I think this is a really good transit, even with the Mercury retrograde involved, I'm not saying it's going to be easy for all of us. It'll be easier for some, just like that example I gave at the beginning about my client who has had a glorious Mercury retrograde, even when Mars was involved, right? Because it was hitting her chart well. So, is this going to be lots of ice chipping and painful confrontation? Or is this going to be deep diving and really like being a mermaid in the deep ocean and exploring the beauty that's down there? It depends on your chart. But ultimately, it will pay off. And why am I so sure? Let's get back to that grand trine, shall we? And bring those planetary influences into this mix. Okay. Jupiter's still exalted in Cancer, and Jupiter is the greater benefic. And in general, and again, I will say, like, I don't always see Mars as bad. I don't always see Jupiter as good either. There's some stuff we do not want to expand, and Jupiter expands. Yeah, I could go on about how many times Jupiter is not so fun. But in this trine energy and in Jupiter's exalted position, it is bringing the good stuff. So it's bringing, just in general, blessings to this thing we're going through this week, right? It's just bringing blessings. It's also expansive. So even though we're deep diving, and sometimes that feels, it can almost feel claustrophobic, especially for those of us who don't really spend a lot of time under the water and don't want to. That would be me. It can feel a little bit claustrophobic to go deep. It can feel like those dark, murky waters sometimes. Jupiter expands and gives us the space so that we can see better and sort of feel bigger into whatever we're doing this time. So we've got that wonderful Jupiter. Now here's the shadow side to Jupiter, or one of them. It can make us too exuberant. I want it all. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to love them all. I'm going to write it all. I'm going to paint all the pictures. That giant, big, expansive over enthusiasm. Yeah, it can do that. But not with this grand trine. Why? Because the other corner is Saturn. These are opposite planets, not in this trine, they're making a trine, but they're opposite planets in the sense that Jupiter expands and makes bigger and says yes. Saturn is the opposite. It says, whoa, hold the press, hold the phone, hold the whatever it is, hold the latte. Saturn says, let's draw some boundaries. Let's get realistic. We got to build a firm foundation. We've got to make sure that what we're doing makes sense. So let's rein it in a little bit and really make logical plans that we can accomplish. So this is gorgeous. We're going deep, we're rethinking, we're refeeling, we're going into that intuitive space, and then we're getting blessings, but we're making them real. It's not going to be fun for everybody depending on the natal chart, but I really honestly believe that this turns out like a good thing that we've gone through. Oh, I forgot the kind of important thing. This energy is going on all week, right? We start the week with it, and to some extent, this is going to be true throughout the week. So, sorry I didn't lead with that. Okay. But as we move through the week, Mercury is going to cross over onto the other side of Venus as he continues his retrograde motion. By the time we get to the 27th, Mercury's going to be separating from Venus enough that that rethinking, redoing, rewording energy is going to actually be out of the mix, and we're going to be left with only Venus in that grand trine. And oh my gosh, you guys, this is even better. This is even better because now we've done the stuff. We've already rethought the relationship, the whatever, right? We've already replanned, redone, whatever we were doing. And now we're just left with Venus, love, money, beauty, relationships, all the art, all the good stuff in that beautiful grand trine of let's make it bigger. Let's expand it, but let's make it realistic. Let's set a firm foundation so that we can move forward. Wow, do you see why I'm saying that even though we may have that early week, Mercury retrograde stuff going on with the Venus, we come out where it's just Venus at the peak of that triangle. And I am really thinking we're going to have some beautiful, beautiful stuff. I want to say some things really take into account all of Venus's meanings. This is love. So those of you who it's hitting your chart that way, or who that's kind of the theme of your life right now, of course, this is love. But if this is anyway speaking to your first house or first house ruler, this could be like beauty projects, right? We may all decide that we're kind of rethinking what it means to be beautiful. Is that getting more natural? Is that getting more glamorous, glammed up? I don't know. What does it mean? But expect changes. See what I'm saying? It can be, if it's hitting in your fourth house or your IC angle, it could be like home beautification projects. So don't limit how you think about Venus and what she brings, because we want to grab this grand trine energy in any way that's meaningful to us. We want to do it. It's beautiful. It's big. It's gorgeous. I love it. And then, depending on where you are, Mercury stations direct on either the 29th or the 30th, so the end of the week. Now, when he stations direct, he's going very slowly. When we look at him in the sky, he's standing still. That's how it appears to us. And the whole retrograde is an optical illusion anyway. No, he's not moving backwards for real. But when he stations direct, it will appear that he is standing still. So he's going to put hyper energy into Scorpio, right? And he's still close to Venus, though not close enough anymore that he's doing a whole lot there. But he's kind of making us really hyper focus on whatever issues have been coming up during his retrograde. So he's direct, but he's stationed, and that is always a period of hyper focus. It's not going to be until next week that we start feeling the forward momentum, okay? Next week, he's going to still be in shadow, so we're going to be going over that old stuff, the stuff that we've already gone over, retrograded back over. Now we're going to be coming over it for the third time, but with all the revisions in place so that we actually feel like, yeah, I've been here before, but I'm finally making positive progress. How great is that? And this Venus work that we're doing this week, yeah, that's connected. That's setting the stage, because Venus is the last planet that Mercury is really in that conjunction with. The way he was with Mars before, he's ending up with Venus. So all of those themes that we've been doing that deep dive rethinking thing on, yeah, that's going to be what we're bringing forward now. And we're going to start making the progress. But the real progress, now that we're in our right thinking, right feeling, the revisions are kind of in place. And yeah, it's just beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I think we're going to be feeling, yeah, like we're finally getting somewhere. And I think this one's big. I know we do this every Mercury retrograde, and that old cliche, we see all the memes around like, isn't Mercury always retrograde? No, but a lot. It's not like such an uncommon kind of experience, right? In our lives, it happens often enough, 3 or 4 times a year. But this one, I don't know, this one feels very, very big to me because it's had there have been all these grand trines going on during the energy. We've had that conjunction with Mars. We've had the conjunction with Venus. And let's not forget that new moon energy that's been involved with this. So as we're going through the moon cycle that lasts most poignantly, no, that's not the right word, most acutely, I don't know what to say, for the month, but really takes 6 months to play out, that new moon stuff is all in this too. So I feel like this is big. I feel like these are going to be some profound life changes. And I do really believe that we come out better for this Mercury retrograde in a deep, meaningful way that they don't all leave us with, right? Like they don't all have this same impact. Sometimes the card just breaks down and lots of wonky emails go out. This one's not that. I really think this one is gonna leave us with bigger, deeper, more meaningful, transformative, I don't know, experiences, things, whatever you want to call them. So I hope that that is meaningful. I hope that that helps. Please let me know how it's going for you. I love getting your emails, your texts, all the things. Yeah, and it helps me know how I can best serve you too. If you tell me how this landed for you, I can bring that into future readings, and sometimes it's really helpful for me and for all of the people listening. So do share, do share. Don't forget, you can do that easily over on Substack if you don't know how else to reach me, but you can do that through my website, right, at Pisces Moon Astrology. There's a contact me button, and that'll get you to my email. So I hope this is a great week for you all, and you know that my thoughts and vibes and all the stuff will be with you. And yeah, until next week, go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is my wish for you always, and talk to you later. Bye.